The safety is off. There's a round in the chamber. This is Armed Alabama. Sponsored by McCoy Outdoor Company, Mobile's hometown full-line outdoor sporting products and gear store. An interactive talk show discussing self-defense, product reviews, shooting tips, safety, and more. Your calls, comments, and texts welcome at 343-0106. Now, here are your hosts, retired judge and certified NRA instructor Rusty Johnston and certified NRA law enforcement instructor Adam Strange.
Where the city lights don't shine, I live my life the simple way, and you know I'm doing just fine. I fish, I hunt, and I shoot my guns, and I raise a little hell. The things I do, you know I do them well. This is my America, and I'm so proud. I don't mind, I say it loud. This is my America, God bless America, the land of the free, because of the brave. This is my America.
All right, welcome to Armed Alabama. Glad you could join us tonight. We've got a good show for you. We're going to have several people in the studio join us. We're also going to have some folks join us on over the telephone to talk about the class that we had this past weekend at Three Brothers Arms. Armed Alabama conducted a level 1 defensive handgun class, and we had a good group of students. Everyone there had a really good time, and we appreciate all the comments and the feedback that we've had from that class, and we enjoyed it. So special thanks to Three Brothers Arms for hosting us there. We had a good time. It's a good range and a good group of guys there, so we appreciate them for that. If you're just now tuning in to our show, this is Armed Alabama Radio, and we discuss self-defense, firearm ammo selection, home protection, concealed carry, training, proper range etiquette, and much, much more, including Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi law, and federal law. So be sure and check us out on our Facebook page. We are broadcasting, simulcasting live on our Facebook page, and that is Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5. Be sure to like, save, and follow us. Check us out on Twitter, and also our YouTube channel, Armed Alabama. And as well, you can check us out on our internet website. Yeah, thank you for that. Our website is armedalabama.com. If you can go to our website there, you can check out and listen to a lot of our previous shows that we have broadcasted. As well, you can check us out as far as information regarding myself, Adam Strange, and of course my esteemed co-host here, Judge Rusty Johnson. You can check us all out and see our bio and see who we are, and you can check us out anytime you like. You can also listen to our shows anytime you like, and so a lot of people tell me that they listen to our shows on our website because they can't hear us for whatever reason. They're not able to listen to FM Talk 106.5 on Tuesdays. So anyway, like I said, we had a great class this past Saturday. Looking forward to the next class. We're going to have a level 2 program that's been requested by several people that attended the class this time and last time. So looking forward to that. If you have any questions regarding the show or regarding upcoming classes, you can email me, Adam at armedalabama.com, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. Speaking of questions, you have questions for me or the judge tonight, be sure and give us a call, 251-343-0106. And you can also text to that same number. We'll be glad to answer any questions or hear any comments that you may have. So like I said, we got a good show for you tonight. So be sure and catch us for the remaining of the show. Judge, you have anything for us tonight? What you got?
Well, for those that went to the class, and Charlie, I may need a little boost here in the sound. Yeah, I have narcolepsy. Those of you kind of rare, and now it's not the kind that you fall out when you're walking in the street. The documentaries love to portray that one, but if you know anybody that has it, there are occasionally times, it scares my wife to death, when you just cannot wake somebody up. And I know General Lee, this isn't funny, but General Lee's mother had it and was actually entombed when she was in that condition. But fortunately, a few years ago, I told my wife, never, 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 never call 911. But I said, if you have to, throw cold water in my face. Well, cold water, needle, everything, it won't wake you up. And of course, the doctor finally explained to me, don't try to wake somebody up, just let it go. And that happened the other day, and wake up feeling great, except it's, I think, 6:30 that night, which, but it'll probably be more relaxing. We're going to reschedule y'all, we'll email y'all and kind of get a poll, probably the Saturday after Yankee Memorial Day, which is not this Saturday, but the Saturday after. But I do want to mention one thing, since I have it here. Anybody interested in Thomas Jefferson, brand new book out by Kevin Gutzman, and it is an excellent book. You got that, Chase? Yeah, just a little on. And now, it's not the typical biography. He was born in, he was raised, this goes through subjects like federalism, that's the chapter I'm on, I think it's only 4 topics, colonization. So from that standpoint, it's a wealth of knowledge. But I think he still mentions, I may be thinking of this from another book, there was a theory at the time that animals and people in the Western Hemisphere were, because of radiation, naturally smaller. Some crazy theory the French had. And so, as Jefferson told Lewis and Clark when they went on their excursion to explore the Louisiana Purchase, while you're there, shoot and bring back a woolly mammoth, because I'm going to send it to this guy in France to prove we have larger animals. He finally had to settle on a moose. So, no woolly mammoth.
That's crazy.
It really is, but it's an excellent book, and it tells you really. I mean, Jefferson was really brilliant. He'll be the next statue they start to tear down. I put a photograph actually of Andrew Jackson in New Orleans that was attacked last week, and that's when the police decided to be police last week, when they decided these Antifa communist group decided to attack Andy Jackson, because that's a tourist attraction, and so the mayor didn't want that attacked. So, but a lot of things down there are named for Jean Lafitte. That goes into the whole story of the Battle of New Orleans, a pirate. He was, of course, a slave trader, a thief, a pirate, what would you say, a purveyor of prostitution, seller of stolen goods. I mean, he was a terrible scoundrel, and yet at the Chalmette battlefield out there, the nice visitor center is named the Jean Lafitte Visitor Center, and you probably got 25 other things in New Orleans named after him. And like I said, he was a slave trader.
So when do you think they're going to start ransacking
When are they going to rip that down?
Yeah.
It's just, when you stir a mob up, it's kind of frightening what they want to do.
Now, these people just don't know their history.
They don't.
All right, Judge, we already got a couple of texts in already. Jared texts and says, y'all definitely have the face for radio.
I know. I once you start Facebook, you can't. It's kind of hard to stop it.
Well, thank you for those kind words, Jared. I appreciate that. All right, join us tonight later on in the show. We have several different people, including Dr. Justin Foster will be joining us later in the show, as well
He's going to
as
perform live adjustments.
me adjustment. I need an attitude adjustment, probably. Also, from the Friends of the NRA, Will Case will be joining us tonight. So we look forward to having him in the studio as well to talk about the forthcoming event. So stick around, join us after the break for more Armed Alabama. Welcome back to Armed Alabama. We're glad you could join us tonight. And we wouldn't be here if it was not for our sponsors, and those are David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Dr. Justin Foster at Foster's Chiropractic, of course, David Grayson of Grayson Air Conditioner, McCoy Outdoors, Ace Hardware Stores of Spring Hill and Creola areas, as well as Moffitt. So we would thank for them. Also, the law office of Matt Green. If you would like to advertise your business on Armed Alabama, please contact us or this station. You can email me, Adam at armedalabama.com, or the judge at armedalabama.com. Also, be sure and check us out on our Facebook page, Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5. We are broadcasting live on our Facebook page, so you can go on there. I think the judge brought some stuff for show and tell, so be sure to tune in there tonight to see what the judge has for us. Also, you can check out our videos that we made when we went to the NRA National Convention just a few weeks ago. We had a really good time. We got a chance to meet with NRA Youth Ambassador Taylor Holland. So you can check out my video there on Armed Alabama Facebook page and see what she has to say about.
Is Taylor or she?
Yes. Yeah, and she was real fun to interview. Also, we met with the Well-Armed Woman. They had a booth there at the NRA National Convention with Ashley and Marty. Got a good chance to talk with them about why it's so important, and that's a good organization. And there's lots of videos there of different products that I ran across that I thought was really, really neat. And so some pretty good interviews there. Really is the first chance, our first opportunity I've ever had to do those kind of interviews. So definitely got some room for improvement, but we had a good time. We had a fun time at the NRA National Convention, and it was neat. Looking forward to next year's convention already. So
and that's in Dallas, right?
That is in Dallas next year. So I definitely, if you have an opportunity to go to Dallas to the NRA convention next year, by all means, please do. So we have on the phone with us right now Urban, who attended the class with us this past weekend at Three Brothers Arms. Hi, Urban. Glad you can join us tonight.
Hey, Adam. That's the only friend you got left in Grand Bay, Alabama.
That's absolutely right. Thank you for calling in, Urban. You and I had talked, and thank you so much for volunteering to call in to talk about the class we had this past weekend. But you had an interesting story on why you wanted to learn more about concealed carry and home protection to be able to defend yourself. If you don't mind, Urban, go ahead and share that story with everybody, and what motivated you to take the class, and then what you got out of the class.
Yeah, sure. I'm getting up there in years, I guess. I'll be 65 soon. I never really carried a weapon on me until after I left the shipyard. And I thought, it's getting time where I can't outrun these people, and I can't defend myself with my hands. So this is, to me, is a defense mechanism. It's got nothing to do with being an offensive person with a weapon. So of course, I've been friends with you for years, and
yes, sir.
Followed you on Facebook, and I saw about a year ago where you started with the judge started this Armed Alabama website and radio show. So I started following you. When I saw that you were going to have this class, I missed the previous one. I think I got in on it a little too late. But when I saw this one, I just had to get involved in it because I'll tell everybody right now, what you assume you're going to learn is way short of what you're actually going to learn. Adam has got one of the best instructive type minds and follow through and the ability to answer any question that comes up in anybody I've been around.
Thank you for that.
He's a real best person for that particular job I could ever imagine. There were so many things. A person just carries a gun. Most people just carry it, and they think they learn what they think they learn off of TV or what somebody has told them on the street. But they're all the nuances that you should know to defend yourself and your family. They're just all just so small little tricks. I want to say tricks of the trade. You can't. I couldn't get over it. And there was like 3.5 or 4 hours of information and instruction, and then we went out on the range and shot for another 3 hours or so. And followed it up with some more instruction.
Well, Urban, I'm glad I wasn't there. Yeah, I knew he'd take advantage of the time. And I'll be in touch with you about what's most convenient for you.
All right. Great. Adam can do a lot of that stuff, but
Urban,
he said we really missed it not having you there, Jay.
I had my wife instructed by Adam. I sure wasn't going to do it. You know, that's like anything. Don't teach your own wife something.
Oh yeah. Well, every one of us. I think there were. If you correct me if I'm wrong. 10 people in the class. Every one of us really enjoyed our time there, and look forward to the opportunity for the next level of instruction and see where we go. I figured, one thing I did think about that I was going to need to do, and dadgummit if you didn't say it, we need to practice this. You need to go home and practice everything that you were taught and not just go home and go back to the old way and forget what it is you left there with, because it's a great learning experience.
Thank you, Urban. I appreciate that. And Urban did very, very well. Really tightened his groups throughout the course of Fire Saturday, and as well as everybody else, come in and really did a really good job. And it was just such a pleasure, Urban, to have you and the others in the class. It just makes it fun, and it makes it enjoyable for everyone, I think, for everybody to be able to share in the class on why they're there, what they're wanting to learn, and then what they got out of the class. So thank you so much, my friend, for calling in and sharing that with us. And
go ahead. You're real welcome, man. I sure appreciate everything you did for us.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate you calling in. Look forward to the next class. Hope you can join us for the level 2, because I would not have known you were 65. You don't look a day over 55. That's for sure.
Oh, man. Now, how much do I owe you now?
Well, we'll just take another class with us, and we'll call it even. How about that?
There you go. All right. I can do that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you very much.
All right, buddy. Y'all have a good evening.
Take care. And that's a tough thing to step out of your comfort zone. To go and kind of basically say, I want to learn the proper way of doing it. I did that 15 years ago or whenever it was. And it's, like I say, you got to let your ego down and say, the way I've been shooting is probably wrong. Please teach me the correct way.
Yeah, and Urban hit on something, talking about the nuances there and so much that you don't know. And we always say is that you don't know what you don't know. And those are the reasons why you and I, discussed and eventually started this radio show, is to be able to share those kind of things and to be able to share that with all of our listeners and people that watch us on Facebook. And it really can make all the difference in the world on your comfort level, what you think is important, and be able to utilize the instruction and training that we give to be able to defend yourself and defend your family. So appreciate Urban and all the others that just attended our class this past weekend. I mean, that's the reason we do it. That's what we're here for, and we really enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. The one thing is we were all taught so-called range shooting, and that's a wonderful sport. But what it really is getting you ready for shooting at the Olympics, where you go out and you shoot at 25 yards, 10 yards, whatever you do. You shoot from a fixed position, and you're shooting at a bullseye. And that helps a lot of skills, but that doesn't really help you when you've attacked by somebody on the street. When that happens, your instincts are going to take over, and you've got 1 to 3 seconds to do something, to act, or you're dead. And now, don't credit me with figuring out all this. There are a lot of wiser people that did. John Lott was one of the people who was the gun guru, the economist. He went, when he worked for the Senate Judiciary Committee, and did a survey of killers in prison and that had killed people with guns. And he said, what was your technique? And they said, I just pull my gun out and start shooting. And so where you had police and others, pulling out, aiming, breathing, firing, these thugs were just pulling their guns out and firing. And so, not that that's exactly what we're teaching, but speed has a lot to do with it, as opposed to, lining up the sights and all. You're not going to see those sights when that adrenaline hits your system. And you got to get those off. Now, remember our number here, 251-343-0106, or on Facebook Live. You can go Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 1065, and also you can go, if you're marginal, you can hear us online, which is either go to the Armed Alabama website, that's armedalabama.com, or go to the FM Talk 1065 website. We'll be back after this break.
All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama. We've still got a big show for you tonight, and joining us in the studio is one of our advertisers, and that's Dr. Justin Foster. We appreciate him coming down. We're going to try to do a series where we spotlight each of our advertisers and sponsors for Armed Alabama. Unlike other shows, we are on the air because these individuals feel it's worthwhile for them to advertise our business, and so definitely that's why we always come on and mention their names and ask you to patron each of these individuals and businesses. So glad you could join us tonight, Dr. Foster. So appreciate you here. And Dr. Foster, Justin is actually my personal chiropractor, and so appreciate you being here.
Yes, great. Pleasure to be here.
So, you and I have been having a conversation here lately, and one of the things that I thought would be really good to talk about on the air, and the judge and I have talked about this several times, that both of us have a box of all kind of different holsters, and one of the holsters I used to use was a small to back holster to be able to carry a little more of a larger frame pistol. Until recently, I kind of started having trouble with sciatica, and you advised me to kind of, try to find a different way to carry, which now I do. I carry in a different place with a different holster. But those are the kind of things I really didn't think about, when you're carrying your firearm concealed, especially getting in and out of the car and sitting down in a car seat. That's kind of when my issue was kind of triggered and was kind of getting the SI joint flared up. But you always do such a fantastic job every time I come in there, and always get good relief as I walk out. So definitely, won't you share with our listeners, about your practice, what it is that you do, and of course how you can help someone.
Be glad to. Well, one of the biggest things, anytime you're wearing a holster or any type of belt around your waist, the biggest thing is you want the right position, okay? And if it's a gun or if it's a measuring tape, it doesn't matter what it is, where it's positioned on the body. And if it's over the spine and it's causing pressure or irritation on the nervous system, you can have either a backache or maybe some radiating pain going down your legs. The biggest thing with the belt is you want to make sure that it's not too high or too low. You want it right where it's supposed to go, and it's kind of the same place where you wear a regular belt. Okay,
or too tight.
Exactly, and yeah, too tight or too loose. And too loose, it has a tendency to slag, and when it does, it can pull on the other side and cause irritation on the other side. So it's always good to make sure it's level on both sides, and also that it is not too tight. And people wear in the office, we're telling them all the time about their wallet in their back pocket.
Yeah, mine's bothering me as we speak. I'm going to take it out.
Yeah, and it's like, especially with blue jeans, and you put a wallet in, it's going to pull real tight on that side and the other side, and it can actually cause a subluxation, which is a misalignment of the vertebrae in your spine. And that's what we do at the office, is we want to actually look at someone's spine and make sure there's no interference with the nervous system. The nervous system controls about everything that goes on within the body. And if there's any kind of irritation, whether it's in the lumbar spine, the lower part of your back, or if it's in your neck or wherever it is, you want to find that before it becomes a major issue. And that's what we do. And the ideal practice of chiropractic would be good if we could just get all children in with good normal spines and take care of them all the way through life. But in most cases, people don't seek out chiropractic care until they have some type of issues, some pain or symptom. And we would prefer to be preventative medicine, but we are more sometimes get in on the pain side. We have to help someone get out of pain. But true health would be to actually take care of that spine and make sure you have a normal functioning nervous system, which takes care of your entire body.
Pain's a big motivator, I've found, to get something done.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And the sad thing is that it's not usually the natural care that people go for. They usually go for the medicine cabinet or something like that to take something to put that fire out. And that would be okay as long as they would go ahead and find out exactly what's causing the problem and treat the cause instead of just treating the symptom.
All right, so we're here, if you're just now joining in, we're here with Dr. Justin Foster of Foster Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner. And so I'm in there probably about once every other week visiting. And I tell you, one thing I like, Justin, about coming to see you versus other chiropractors in the past, which and other doctors as well, is I like the fact that you don't mind taking a few extra minutes, because you have to see a lot of patients each day. But I like the fact that you take a few extra minutes, and usually within each of your rooms, you actually have a skeleton there or a spine there, and you really go in detail of perhaps maybe what's going on with the patient. So right. If a patient comes and see you, what is the things that you're going to go over with them as far as possible treatments and adjustments and how you can relieve whatever issue they may have?
Right, very good. Yeah. The biggest thing we like to do at the office, we are a family practice. We've been there for 22 years, and we like to build value on each visit. And the deal there is when someone comes in as a new patient, we want to take a thorough history, a consultation with them, usually in private, and they can tell us what all's been going on, anything that's happened in the past that may have led up to why they're having these symptoms. And we'll check that out, and we do consultations, examinations, and those examinations are usually orthopedic, neurological, and chiropractic exams. And we get a real in-depth issue of what's going on inside the spine. And from there, we come up with either a treatment program or let them know if they may need to seek some type of other care besides chiropractic.
And so how can everybody find you?
We're easy to find. We in Tillman's Corner, right off of Range Line. We tell everybody we're straight across from Range Line from Lowe's. And
oh, yeah. So you take if you were coming on I-10, you take the exit that you would go to Lowe's at and right in there. Okay.
Yes, sir. It's the Tillman's Corner Dolphin Island exit. And you get off right there on Hall's Mill and take the immediate right on the Range Line Service Road, next door to Town and Country Furniture.
Yeah, I've learned lots of different terms like sacroiliac.
Sacroiliac.
Yeah, T1 process, all that kind of good stuff.
Right,
So,
right. And a big term that we like the public and every one of our patients to know, and that's subluxation. And subluxation just literally means a misaligned vertebrae, a vertebrae that has not the proper function or it's either out of alignment. And that's what chiropractic's all about, is we want to find those misalignments and restore the proper alignment and also restore the proper biomechanics of that joint, put the motion back into that joint.
Yeah, and with misalignment, it can come, discomfort or what have you. So how does that relieved? How is that discomfort or pain relieved by aligning that vertebrae or that joint?
Well, it's kind of like taking your finger and bending it backwards. It's going to burn a whole lot as long as it stays backwards. But if you was to get like we'd say an adjustment to your finger and bring it back around to the normal position, then the body can get the histamines, the anti-inflammatory response out of there and through the blood system, because it can circulate also. And by putting a vertebrae back in place, it's the same thing. It puts the proper functioning of that joint. But when you have a misaligned vertebrae, you can cause pressure on the facet joints, which is the joints from one vertebrae to the next. And also you can put torque or pressure on the disc, and if the disc gets too much pressure, it causes it to swell. That swelling can cause irritation to the nerves, and the nerves go to the body. And you can also get a decrease of the energy flow that goes down the nerve. And from there, that's where you get a lot of organ problems. When I was in college, I had a lot of stomach stress and a lot of reflux, that type of stuff. And I went to several doctors and got a lot of coating stuff to go over my stomach to help me with that. But I kept having it, and it kept bothering me. So in chiropractic college, every one of the students did an x-ray. And sure enough, I had a misalignment at my T5 vertebrae, which is the vertebrae that goes straight to your stomach. And I got a few adjustments and lined that vertebrae back up and got the proper mobility into that joint, and my stomach healed up.
I thought you were going to say there was a big snake or something in your stomach.
No,
I'll tell you
thank God.
thing that helped me, if I can keep them, is, especially wearing a holster, is not having a belt that has holes, having these tight belts so you don't have to force it into the next hole, which may get it a little too tight or letting it get too loose for the next hole. This you can get to the, what do we call these, training belts, Adam? Or,
yeah.
And so you can get it just like you want it.
Exactly.
And I found that to be helpful.
Yes, because if you tighten it up too tight and it causes pressure, if it's on a vessel or a nerve, it's going to cause problems.
Justin, you just got a little bit left. Go ahead again. Tell how people can call, your number to your practice, and also Facebook or internet.
Okay, it's real easy. Our telephone number is 251-661-2100, and you can look it up on Facebook. It's Foster Chiropractic at Tillman's Corner, and we usually can get a patient in within the first day or maybe the second day, and appointments are easy, and we're very convenient location and nice parking.
And I bet yours is low crime as compared to a Walmart Supercenter.
Yes, it is. So far.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, we appreciate you, your support of the show. We appreciate you advertising, and thank you so much for joining us. And that's Justin Foster of Foster's Chiropractic. We'll be back after this break with more Armed Alabama. All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama. We have on the line with us one of another student that attended a class this past weekend, and Dennis is joining us, and he did an amazing job at the class. Dennis, thank you for calling in.
I appreciate it, Adam and Judge.
Hey, Dennis, I'm sorry I missed you.
And I think Chase was a little under the weather as well, but was hoping to see all of you. But, we always thank Adam and the judge for, making all this possible for us. But after listening to Dr. Foster and Matt Green a couple of weeks ago with the Battle of Athens and all of them, McCoys, we really do appreciate all they do, because we understand that they really are a lot of the money behind what goes on, and we appreciate them providing it for us.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. Appreciate it. Just give us a heads up, buddy, what you thought about the class and maybe what you picked up, what you intended on learning, and then what you actually learned.
I will. The biggest thing was the group. It was a lot of diversity in the group. I think the youngest girl, Amanda, was about 16, in her early teens. And then the oldest one, of course, Urban, was one he's already shared. But as we went around and everybody talked about, first thing Adam asked us was, what made us want to take the course. And there was, after it was all said and done and everybody had shared, there was a consensus of just the trouble of the day we're living in. And there was one guy who attended the class, and a few weeks back, about a month ago, he and his father-in-law and his son were in their garage and were accosted by two thugs. They came in with guns, and they robbed them. And he said, that's the reason he was there, because he didn't ever want to be a victim again. And I think that's what it was, Adam. We all decided that day that we don't want to be a victim in this world we're living in. We're going to do everything we can to prevent it. And in order to do that is to learn.
Absolutely, and that's a good point that you bring up, and that's something that we had discussed, Dennis, in the class, and that was, to me, that's 80% of it, Dennis, is having a mindset that I'm going to do what it takes to defend myself or defend my family. And I think once you make your mind up that that's what you're going to do, and you're going to use that firearm in a concealed carry or home defense capacity, that is the big portion of actually being able to defend yourself. But going to a class like we have and taking learning the methodology that we teach gives you that comfort and that confidence to be able to utilize that firearm in that capacity.
Absolutely. And Adam, you brought it out. You said we own the gun and we own the bullet that's in that gun. And so we got to discipline ourselves. And that's one of the things that was the biggest thing, the 7 points of shooting a pistol, all the way from the stance, the grip, the sight alignment, the sight picture, the trigger control, all the way down through the follow-up is you don't comprehend that. It goes back to what Urban said. It's so much more than just carrying a gun and thinking that if you get put into a bad situation, you've got protection and you'll just pull your gun out. But there's actually a methodical reason for doing everything that we were taught, and really that's as Urban said, we've got plenty to practice, and just hope we never have to get put into a position where we have to use that weapon. But if we do, I think we firmed up in our mind. We've made a decision we would do it because our family is at stake. So,
right.
But it was great.
Well, thank you, Dennis, and you made a good point. It was a good group of people, and when you have a good group like that, everybody is there who knows why they're there, and they're very articulate on why they're there and what they're wanting to learn, and share amongst each other throughout the day. That's what makes it fun.
Really does.
Oh, we look forward to level 2 when y'all get ready.
Yes, sir. We're going to be doing that pretty soon, and thank you so much, Dennis, for calling in. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you attending the class. Thank you so much, and thank you for listening.
Y'all have a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, Dennis. All right. We appreciate that. We appreciate Dennis calling in. We have another person in the studio with us here tonight, and this is Friends of the NRA, and we've been talking about that over the last several weeks now. The Friends of the NRA are hosting an event this Thursday. So I have in here with me Will Case. He's here. He's chairman, right, of the Friends of the NRA for Mobile County, and he's joining us as he called in last week. He agreed to join us in the studio this week because we think it's important that as many people can attend that event, because it really is a good event. It's a charity event, but it's also a learning event as well, and a chance to socialize with like-minded people. And we'll just go ahead and share with us about the event and how you can sign up and what everyone can look forward to.
Sure, yeah. We're having the event. It's going to be at the USS Alabama in the pavilion, the hangar. They're backing the Blackbird out, so we have enough room in there. We actually did the walkthrough yesterday, got the tables all set. You can get tickets multiple ways. You can either call me on my cell phone, 251-753-1020. You can go on the website. It's friendsofnra.org. Just click on the state, look up the event. It's fairly easy, self-explanatory. You can also buy tickets at the door. We've had quite a few people that have told us they're going to buy them at the door. We've got the catering set.
But you'd rather have it in advance because it makes you a little nervous,
Yes, sir. I've been quite stressed out this year.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
With the ticket sales, but for whatever reason, the ticket sales around the country have been down, and I don't know whether everybody decided that Trump won, and so we can take a knee. But
I think so. I really do.
It's the
That's
worst
not
thing.
the attitude.
It is the worst attitude to have because 2018 will be here soon, and they're already gunning for us anyway.
Yep.
And we need every warrior out there fighting for our rights.
Yep.
So we're going to have a great event. I've got a lot of good material. Again, we're having a live auction. We have quite a few nice firearms to auction off. We also have a African safari that we're going to be auctioning off, which is a great, fantastic deal. We've got a Charlie Daniels fiddle that's signed by Charlie Daniels. That's a great American flag fiddle. That's a great item. And quite a few games. We've done a great job with the silent auction this year, collecting and soliciting people to get some good items for that. We've got some good art prints that we're going to have in the silent auction, as well as some local knife makers have donated their wares. Several self-defense classes that have been donated from different instructions around the city, and just going to have a great time. Namath's Catering is going to do an all-you-can-eat seafood buffet. We're going to have
right there.
Free beer. You can take donations, but it's free, so come on out. And yeah, we're looking forward to it. Thursday will be here before you know it.
And that starts at when?
Doors open at 5:30. The event, most of the festivities, dinner start about 6:30ish, and then the auctions will be after that. Games will be going on the entire time though, starting at 5:30.
Yeah, you know, as far as drawing.
We have a couple of games that we do where you get tickets. Plinko, we got pick the badge game. Bury the boar is always fun. It's a boar target that has about 100 knives jammed in it with a ticket on each one. Chances for that. And then we have a mystery gun this year in a Liberty handgun safe. That'll be sold at the door. And we're going to do a card game for that. So it's 52 chances to win a very nice concealed carry firearm in a nice handgun safe.
Well, cool. Well, thank you for joining us. I hope you can stick around later.
Absolutely.
And we can talk more throughout the show. But we're heading up to a break here, going into our second hour. So make sure you hang with us through our break for more Armed Alabama. All right, welcome to Armed Alabama. We're in our second hour. Glad you can join us, or if you hung with us through the break, we appreciate it. We've still got a big show for you tonight. In the studio with us, we have Will Case. He is here with the Friends of the NRA. They're having an event coming up, so we appreciate him coming in and hanging with us. If you don't know who Armed Alabama is, we're a show that talks about self-defense, firearm ammo selection, home protection, concealed carry, training, proper range etiquette, and much more, including Alabama law, Mississippi law, and Florida law. And the judge
Intergalactic law.
And the judge can give you all the information you need to know on that, as well as federal law and the U.S. Constitution. Be sure and check out our Facebook page, Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5, where we are broadcasting live right now. You can go to our Facebook page and you can see us. We had a text earlier from Jared. Jared said we definitely had faces for radio. So thank you for that, Jared. I appreciate it. So also on the in the studio earlier was Dr. Justin Foster of Foster's Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner. So definitely want to thank Justin for coming in and joining us. And we will also want to thank him for supporting the show with advertisement. And so want to appreciate that. Thank you, Justin, for being able to come in and talk with us about chiropractic and what it is that chiropractic can be used for, as far as treating back pain, neck pain, and so much more. So thank you, Justin, for joining us. If you have a comment or a question for us tonight, be sure and give us a call, 251-343-0106. We'll be glad to answer any questions you may have or listen to whatever comment you may have. You can also text that comment or question to that same number. That's 251-343-0106. And we already have a phone call online as Bert's calling from Fairhope. Hi, Bert. What you got for us?
This is Bert Nugent.
Yes.
I just wanted to say that we're very lucky to have Judge Johnston on the air doing the kind of work that he does. I've known now I'm not afraid to call him Rusty.
Please.
I've practiced before him for decades when he was on the bench. We're sorry that he's not there anymore, but I have a question for you, Judge.
Yeah.
Like many veterans of my era, the Vietnam era, I trained with the M14 and
right.
Slept with it, ate with it, suffered over it, cleaned it, and I'm hoping that one day that the CMP program is going to put us in a position where we can buy those arms, and wondered if you had any insight into that in regard to what you think the new administration might do to loosen up some of those Army programs, so that
Bert, one question I have for you.
And the 45 Colt.
Yep.
And I'll get off and listen.
Okay.
And thanks again, Judge.
Yeah, good
and
talking
hope you're
to you.
doing well.
All right, thank you. And Adam, you have some insight too. The prior administration of Obama's, they did everything possible to sabotage the civilian marksmanship program that Bert was talking about, and that is where older, out-of-service U.S. military weapons, like and they still have Garands that come through there, and 1911s, they're reserviced, or they're serviced,
right.
And they're available for sale. You've got to join a club, but the interesting thing is that South Korea has a big batch of, I know they have M1 carbines, they have M1s, they have, I'm not sure the stash of them, but it is a lot. And Obama totally vetoed it because I think South Korea's position is, hey, they're yours, but we've been storing them for you for, 60 years, but they're yours. We'd like to give them back. And Obama's position was, well, all the gangs will get. I mean, gangs are not going to use those guns.
I can just see, a drive-by with a M1 Garand or something.
Can't you imagine that? So, as I understand it, they're making plans to acquire those and bring them back and put them into the program.
Right, exactly, and that's a good point. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I think I did a few weeks ago, and I may have called them out, but there's something to the neighborhood of almost 9,000 M1 Garands, and somewhere in the neighborhoods of 14,000 M1 carbines. So there's quite a lot there, and man, kudos to the government of South Korea, because they could have easily taken those and destroyed them or what have you after the Obama administration not once but twice refused the entry of those firearms. So kudos to the South Korean government for hanging on to them, knowing that the winds of change were coming, and hopefully for more favorable government on the behalf of the United States.
We need to get them before they have a war and they get destroyed.
Yeah, so I know that I can't remember. I had that article in front of me a few weeks ago, and I can't remember exactly what is transpiring, but I know that the Trump administration is moving forward on that to be able to import those.
And the only problem with the M14, and correct me if I'm wrong, that was originally made as a full auto. Correct?
Yeah, M14 was a select fire, so yeah, I don't know how we'll be able to get those or how that's going to happen, but I doubt it. But the M1 Garands, I know
they can be modified, obviously fixed.
Yeah.
But Whether those will go through the program or not,
I would seriously doubt
yeah.
it if they'll be demilled or
I wish they would
to make them M1A1s as Springfield Armory firearm you can buy now as a M1A1.
Yeah. It's not like having an old one,
Yeah, absolutely. And they're different too, because even though the M1A1s right now are coveted, buying them from Springfield. Springfield does even have them where they're chrome lined barrels anymore.
Really?
Yeah. So if you want a chrome lined barrel one, you have to get one of the older manufacturers. And there's some boutique manufacturers of M1A1s.
There are, and I keep
they
looking
are
at
chrome
them.
lined barrels.
They're getting up about $1,800, and that's just a little too rich.
Yeah, a little too rich for my blood. Definitely when
you want to read that text real
you can
quick?
buy
Probably...
AR-10. So, yeah, Judge, we got a few texts here. One of them, text we have, it says, I conceal carry, and I have a post office box in Mobile that I go to. Am I legally able to carry my concealed carry pistol in with me when I check out my post office box?
Okay, the post office, I'll try to do this quick before we break. Post office has a regulation that says, no, you cannot bring it into the post office. You can't bring it into the parking lot. There was a case in the 10th Circuit, which includes Colorado, the states around there, doesn't necessarily apply to us, and the 10th Circuit upheld the post office ban. And they said that it was a closer call on the parking lot, but they were going to uphold the ban inside the post office. So to me, that makes it pretty questionable, unless you're going into a post office where you really think your life is in jeopardy, you got to take that in consideration. Deep cover it then and go on in. But they have a ban and is presumptively legal until it's declared not legal.
All right, thank you, Judge. We have on the line with us Lloyd. Just hang with us through the break, and we'll catch you after the break. So please just hang with us, Lloyd, and we appreciate you calling in. And we'll definitely have more Armed Alabama when we come back.
I don't know if I came through. Y'all excuse our producer tonight. He's been drinking again and hitting the wrong buttons occasionally.
So you just thought that was coffee he was drinking.
I know. Finally figured it out.
Diet beer. All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama. Glad you could join us. If you're just now joining us, the show we have a big show still in front of us. We have in the studio with us friends of the NRA chairman, and that's Will Case. We appreciate you, Will. Join us. If you will, just give us a heads up about this Thursday's event and what everybody can expect. As a matter of fact, hold on just a second, and I forgot we've got Lloyd hanging on. Sorry about that, Will, so much. Lloyd, what you got for us?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, Lloyd.
I had an observation. I've heard y'all speak of the Second Amendment and the wording of the Second Amendment several times, and I know that the first line, which says a well-regulated militia being necessary for the defense of a free state. A lot of left-leaning people tend to hang on that word regulated or well-regulated as meaning the government having oversight. And I do not believe that was the original intent, because the usage of that word has changed over time, as all languages change with usage. Nowadays, regulation means oversight. But during the time that the Constitution was drafted and the Second Amendment was drafted, regulation had a different meaning. When they refer to a well-regulated militia, what they're referring to is well-supplied. In other words, plenty of guns available.
Lloyd, you're thinking too deep on this one. Let me tell you. Read the Heller versus District of Columbia case. Read the Heller, Heller. Just put that in your computer. Heller, Heller versus District of Columbia.
Yes, sir, I'm familiar.
Yeah, and read that, and what they point out is, and I'm just trying, I've got it on the screen here, is they point out those are basically two phrases that are put together. And it talks in the first part about the militia, but the second part is completely separated. It's talking about then the personal right to have a firearm. Hold on just a second. I'm going to get you the exact quote. But because they discuss that, or Scalia does, in depth, and that's really pretty good. That'll give you your pretty good source to look at. Because you're really overanalyzing it. We don't have to talk about because in Alabama, for instance, all males between, I think, 16 and 45 are members of the unregulated militia or general militia or whatever they call it. But we don't even have to go there with it because of the way they interpreted the semicolon or whatever it is there. Hold on just a minute.
Well, I guess I'm still in the mix, then, because I hadn't hit 45 yet.
Well, you are. A well-regulated militia, comma, being necessary for the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, comma, shall not be infringed. They separate the first portion, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, as if those are two sentences. And the second one being the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And the way he analyzes it is that second portion, you may as well have that as a second sentence. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. You couple that with 12 of the 13 colonies that were states then. They had wording in their state constitutions that were similar, more like Alabama's, though. Every citizen has a right to bear arms in defense of himself in the state. And when you look at those two together, it was a right that carried over from England and existed. It predated the ratification of the Constitution. So, we've won that battle. They can keep griping all they want about it, but we won that in 2008.
Oh, I understand, but just because we won that round doesn't mean that they will stop trying to have that repealed.
Well, true. And as I was telling them earlier, it doesn't matter if the Second Amendment is repealed, erased. Under the Ninth Amendment, it is an inalienable right that we have anyway. The Ninth Amendment says, let me give you the exact wording of it, all rights that are, let's get it exactly for you. It says the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights, which is the Bill of Rights, the rights contained in the Bill of Rights, shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. So we had the right to keep and bear arms before the Constitution was ratified. Just because it's not written down, just like we have the right to marry who we want to, for instance, or to raise our children like we see fit. That doesn't have to be written down in the Constitution. And if the Second Amendment was not there, and remember the Second Amendment didn't apply to the states until 2010. And the Bill of Rights was never intended to apply to the states. It has it'd be better if it didn't, quite frankly, but we're on that track. But I think we'll beat them back. But that's a good point. You keep it up, because there are a lot of people out there that are just dumb and don't understand. They can't take that right away. We're born with it.
And that is good to know. I appreciate you pointing out the reference in the Ninth Amendment. Was not familiar enough with that to be familiar.
And that was approved by Alan Gura. I asked him, he was one of the lawyers in the Heller case, and he said, you're absolutely right when I asked him about that.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Well, for the time being, looks like we're okay, but we have to remain vigilant.
You're right. Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, y'all. Y'all do a great job. Enjoy your show every week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lloyd. And it's great having a judge here because he truly is a constitutional scholar, and we appreciate that. So also, I want to get back to what I was starting before, and I apologize, Will. I had just forgot that Lloyd was hanging on the phone with us. But we have in the studio here, Will Case is from the Friends of the NRA, the local chapter, the Mobile chapter, and the Friends of the NRA is having an event this Thursday night at the Battleship Park. And you were here earlier in the show in the first hour, Will, so go ahead and tell everybody that just joined us or maybe continuing to listen about the event and what they can expect.
Sure. I just want to make one real quick point. You do not have to be a member of the NRA to attend our Friends of NRA banquet.
But you can't be a member of Antifa.
No, we don't want those guys either. But you don't have to be a member. We are affiliated, obviously, with the NRA, but we are a 501c3 charity. The Friends of NRA organization nationally, our job is to raise money for youth organizations to give it away for the education and furthering of the shooting sports to our younger generations. 4-H clubs, Boy Scouts of America, junior ROTC programs. We also donate and grant money to law enforcement agencies if they need, different kinds of equipment that maybe the smaller organizations can't afford. Shooting clubs, if they need a berm repair or something to that effect, we do try to help those guys out as well. So basically, all the funds that we take in, a lot of them come back to the local community. We were able to get some Boy Scouts here locally on the Baldwin County side, some funds this year. Hopefully, it had to go up to NRA for approval, but we did vote to get them something.
And that's a good point, Will. If you remember, we were up in Atlanta at the NRA National Convention. It was an absolute blast to attend, and there was 15 acres of booths and different firearms, and of course it's wall-to-wall people, NRA members just like you and myself. And I actually got a chance to do some different videos and stuff and interview some different people, that had some type of product or commodity there at the convention that they were demonstrating. But also we got a chance to talk with a representative of some of those groups you were talking about, and we got a chance to talk with the NRA Youth Ambassador, Taylor Holland, that was there. And you can go on our Facebook page, Armed Alabama FM Talk 106.5. You can see that video, but the impact that she and others have, and representing the NRA, representing shooting sports, and getting younger members or younger people involved, it goes to exactly what you said. I didn't want to interrupt you there, but I think it's worthwhile to talk about that and the impact that you guys have with getting new people involved with shooting and with firearms.
Absolutely. We have to get the younger generation involved, or we will eventually lose that right that is inalienable.
Right.
So,
Yep. Absolutely.
So, that's what we do. We just try to raise money to give it away. We have a all-you-can-eat seafood buffet catered by Naaman's Catering. Free beer, again, free beer. We're asking for donations. Live auction, silent auction, a lot of games, raffles, different things. We got about 26 guns to give away or raffle off, auction off, and we got quite a good bit of selection of different items.
So tell people how they can go and buy tickets.
Sure. You can call me on my cell phone, 251-753-1020. You can go online at friendsofnra.org. Just look up the state, and Alabama. Mobile is actually the next event coming up in Alabama. You can buy at the door. We would prefer, if you plan on coming, to go online and go ahead and order the tickets so we have a better count for the catering. But we're expecting quite a few people to pay at the door, and we're prepared for it. We do have some table options also. If you have a big group of people, there's some table sponsorships. The lowest amount is $750. You get 8 tickets plus a gun off of a specified list. The next table is $1,200, and then the table of the year is $2,017. Obviously, the guns get better, higher quality, the more you spend. But we do have those options. You would have to call me to get those, though. They're not online. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Will. Appreciate that. Appreciate you hanging with us, and you're more welcome to hang with us through the show. Enjoy having you here, and definitely get a chance to talk about more of what the Friends of the NRA does. So we'll have more with Will Case and the Friends of the NRA when we come back after this break coming up here. So definitely hang with us through the break. This is Armed Alabama. I think so. Welcome back to Armed Alabama. But actually, that's one of my favorite movies right there. I mean, you got to love those spaghetti westerns with Clint Eastwood. Add the man with a no name, with the cigar and everything else like that. So, cool. But glad you could hang with us here. We've still got plenty of show left. And if you want to, if you have an opportunity, be sure and get in front of your laptop or smartphone or what have you, tablet, because the judge is going to be doing a little bit of show and tell here. So what you got for us, Judge?
First of all, we have a wonderful sponsor. That's the Ace Hardware Store, Spring Hill Ace, Moffett Road Ace, and Creola Ace Hardware and Lumber. And I want to show you a jigsaw that I purchased from the Spring Hill Ace, and I figure about 1971. Now, then it was Carby Ace Hardware, but it's the same store. Rode up there on my bike because I had a project going. I think it was 1995, and they probably are still around that now, but of course that's a made in USA product, but it's still running well. I think I've replaced a part in it, but may get confused. But for all those tools like that, price them. It's so much easier for me to run up there than it is to one of the big box stores. Now, another thing you can do it a bunch of ways, but now this combines our security that we teach also in our self-defense class, is most people will take chain up their motorcycle, chain their gate up, and you can get at Ace $29, $39 bolt cutter, and it'll cut about any chain there is off. And most criminals don't have these, but the step above criminals do. This bolt cutter will not cut wire rope or cable. This is just probably 3/8 or 1/4-inch wire rope, just with a plastic on it. And you can put it in there, and we'll get it in front of your camera. You got it.
Watch the fingers. That's why I'm down here.
Now, it'll cut through the plastic, but you can do that all day, and it just won't cut through it. And what you need to do that is about $100, $125 tool, which none of the criminals have. Like that. So when you're locking up your equipment, you need wire rope or cable to do it, which you can get at your Ace stores. You can get it stainless steel, you can get it galvanized, or my favorite, the plastic there. You can connect it back with thimbles. They actually have some pre-cut with locks already on them, but I'll see people that have, $30,000 bolts, and they'll have a piece of chain on there that the $29 bolt cutter will just snap it right off, and they're just not aware of that. That's how you got to be thinking, because I saw so many thefts. And listen, people aren't punished very much for a theft. Nobody goes to prison for a theft. Believe me, nobody's hand gets chopped off for a theft. And I've always wondered, if that works, why do they have to keep chopping off hands in Saudi Arabia? So, you want to bring them forth more now?
No, I was just seeing if you could see all this right here, and all this judge had in his bag. We laugh about when he goes to the range, but when the judge goes to the range, he goes to the range. So he just brings this stuff in for show and tell. I'm thinking like he's going to rappel down the side of a building or something like that. I mean, good gracious.
And I've got a tool now. This one, I'm afraid Spring Hill Ace wouldn't. They could probably order it for you. It's called a swagging tool, but for 5/8 inch cable, you couldn't. get it there because it costs about $200, but it puts you that aluminum. We can quite see it there, but there's an aluminum. Sometimes you can get them in copper also, but that metal's pliable enough where you can wrap it back along there and you squeeze it in. You can use that, or you can use the clips or the thimbles. And if you use the thimbles, put a little super glue on them when you're screwing them down, and then criminals that might be a little smarter than normal can't unscrew them. But you can get all of that at Ace Hardware, and you need to be thinking about that when you're analyzing where can criminals get in my house, because before you get the fancy alarm system, lock the door. I mean, do the basic stuff first. You'd be surprised. I had a rash of rape cases I tried where the rapist came in every case through an unlocked door or window. So lock up, go to Ace, get the basics, but don't get the chain, get the cable. And that's Ace Hardware in Creola. And you can get all your lumber there, too. Spring Hill Ace, where they'll sell you a jigsaw the last, 40 years.
Did you show the jigsaw already, or did I miss that?
I think we said, yeah. And I've also got a picture of it on our Facebook page.
That way you can get the jigsaw and extension cord and just cut a hole in somebody's door.
Yeah, well, that's right. And, of course, the Ace Hardware out on Moffett Road. Ace, they're good people. Patronize them, locally owned and operated.
Where are they, Judge?
Moffett Road.
That's one.
And actually, I already told everybody, but for the benefit of someone who's not quite with us, Moffett Road, 7380 Moffett Road, and Creola is 10041, and that's US 43 in Creola. And then Spring Hill Ace is in Spring Hill Shopping Center, which is right at the intersection of Old Shell and McGregor.
Jeez, Charlie, you think you're helping a man out.
Yeah.
Hey, we love Charlie. It's okay.
I've actually got this by the 100 yards. And so.
Well, Chase is over here making comments, but he's one that jumped back a while ago when the judge had that cutter. I thought that maybe you got your. Yeah, you jumped back. I jumped because you jumped. I thought maybe your finger got lopped off or
somebody
some kind of other appendage.
That as a torture. That would be brutal.
That wouldn't be no good. Yeah.
You just see those come flying at you.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, let me get my fingers back here.
Think about your little finger being lopped off with that cable cutter.
I'll pass.
That's pretty brutal.
So, Will, just before we went to the break, or during the break, you had stated that you want to add some things to what you stated earlier. Will Case is here from the Friends of the NRA, and you guys have got an event coming up at the Battleship Park this Thursday night at 5:30, but definitely what you had to say was really important, so please share that.
Yeah, absolutely. Ticket prices, I haven't thrown that out there yet. The standard ticket price right now is $40 for an individual and $70 for a couple. And I wanted to just let everybody know that we are offering a law enforcement, first responder, firefighters, EMTs, and as well as military discount down to $35 for an individual and $60 for a couple. Also, there is no fee for parking. I know normally you have to pay $2 to get into the battleship. Just tell them that you're there for the NRA dinner, and they will wave you through. You do not have to pay for parking. I want to make sure everybody understands that, so you don't lose $2. I'd rather you spend $2 at my event than give the battleship $2. Also, we have free soft drinks. Doors open at 5:30 at the battleship in the pavilion, which is the hangar. You'll see the Blackbird. It'll be outside. They have to push that out to make room for us. And there is actually a new exhibit there that a World War I exhibit that we will be able to see in the hangar while we're there. So you can enjoy the military history while you're.
And we're right at the 100th anniversary of World War I, so that's appropriate.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. So cool. Thank you, Will. Thank you for coming in and sharing that with us tonight and sharing it with each of you guys listening. So we appreciate that. One more time, how they can go and buy tickets.
Hey, you can call me on my cell, 251-753-1020. You can go on the website, friendsofnra.org. Just search for the state, Alabama. Mobile's the next event coming up. There are table sponsorships, as I said, available. That comes with 8 tickets plus a firearm of differing values depending on which level of table you get. You have to call me to get those, 251-753-1020 if you're interested. Or you can pay at the door.
Cool. Thank you so much. Appreciate you joining us. And definitely, by all means, if you're on the fence about going to this event, definitely go. You'll have a great time.
At least go and write him a bad check when you go there, and then if you liked it, don't stop payment on it. Just kidding. If the state of Alabama didn't have people writing bad checks, it'd go bankrupt. It'd make so much money off of prosecuting people for bad checks.
You got a lot.
I'm serious.
You got a lot of experience with that.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. So, Judge, you got something you want to share there before we go, or?
I got a lot to share if you want, but I don't know that you want to get me started. I've just been following the desecration of the monuments down in New Orleans, which is just, people say we've got to destroy those because they represent something bad. I don't think they do, but if that's the case, then why has the Auschwitz concentration camp in Poland been rebuilt? Because people go there to remember. People go there to for whatever reason. I'm sure there are a few weirdos that go there to get their kicks off of it, but it means something. It's a part of history, and regardless of what you think about the history, you can't erase history. And that's what this whole group of kooks, are trying to do. And believe me, it will be, Francis Scott Key is under attack, and Thomas Jefferson will be. And it's really the silliest thing. It would be silly except it's for real. General Beauregard's equestrian statue, I don't know if you've ever seen that, it's listed on the National Registry of Historic Places on application of Mayor Mark Morial 20 years ago, a black mayor of New Orleans. So, that means it's all politics, because he thought it was a good idea, and that's just listed there, which means it's a unique piece of artwork. Charlie, what were you signaling there?
Great.
Okay, break time. We got to step into a break. Folks, we'll be back in 2 minutes or so with more of Armed Alabama. Shoot, a fella could have a pretty good time in Vegas with all that stuff.
Or the Friends of the NRA dinner, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Speaking of dinner, we have the Friends of the NRA we have in the studio with us. Will Case, if you just now join us. So we had to make a little joke about that. Will, you had asked me earlier, he's like, we were just talking during the break, as we always do, crack up and making jokes, this, that, and the other. But Will asked, he said, what do you carry? What do you conceal carry? And so I told him, depending on the weather or where I was going or what kind of apparel that I was wearing, it may be several different firearms. But here late, I'm carrying a Steyr C9A1, and that I actually bought at McCoy Outdoors. And we were talking earlier tonight, we're thankful for all of our sponsors and advertisers, and definitely McCoy Outdoors is one we need to thank. And definitely you can go in there and, of course, order a Steyr if you so choose, or you can buy anything. They've got so much stuff within that store. Wouldn't you say, Judge? I mean, I've got to a point where
gun store in
absolutely,
town, it doesn't mean their prices are.
I buy as much as I can there, and just when you think that they may not have it, lo and behold, I get there and they do have it.
Right.
And they've got lots of ammunition, lots of apparel.
When I have long sleeves on, I carry a little machine pistol like General Luan did, who was the South Vietnamese police commissioner, and he could point, pow. So, and they sold it to me there, no questions asked.
Well, if you have your concealed carry permit, they don't have to ask any questions.
Well, that must have been it.
Yep.
They
just go ahead and fill out the 4110 form for you, and you're ready to go.
Right.
Machine pistol and everything.
Yeah,
huh?
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So be sure and check out McCoy Outdoors, and they are Spring Hill Avenue, just west of I-65. Great place to shop, great group of people, and extremely knowledgeable. And that's McCoy Outdoors. What you looking for?
Well, I was looking for the quote, and I'll just try it as it is. Madison was president. To show you how far this goes back, trying to appoint strict constructionists to the Supreme Court. Madison was president. Jefferson had just left, and Jefferson wrote their mutual friend Albert Gallatin and said, "I see where old," some justice on the Supreme Court, "I see where old so-and-so's died." And, exclamation point. He was happy. He says, "That finally gives us a chance to get a majority on the Supreme Court." And they asked several people who turned it down. And then Madison suggested Joseph Story. And Jefferson said, "Good grief, no. He's from Massachusetts. Don't trust anybody from Massachusetts." He tried him, and he, in my opinion, the second or third worst justice there's ever been. He was a centralizer. He lied about the Constitution. Awful, awful person. He became John Marshall's book carrier. But so there you go. They've been trying that long. There's always a sharp leftward turn when anybody's been appointed to the Supreme Court. And this battle has been going on. That must have been 1811, 10. And that battle's been going on that long, and we've been losing it for that long. But there's a good article that actually William Rehnquist wrote that has that story in it, which I've got way too much stored on this computer to find it quickly.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to try to dig and find something that you want to look at right on the spot. You talking about dying brings me into what I hate to bring up, but also want to bring up too because he's one of my favorite character actors, and that's Powers Booth had died this week.
Oh yeah.
And also he starred in one of my favorite movies, westerns. That is Tombstone.
Yeah. How I bet you he was a lot older than he's probably
68.
70. Okay.
68.
Okay.
So still fairly young.
No, that's what I would have thought. But
yeah, he had passed.
Here, 88
yeah,
or something.
He had passed away in his sleep. But he had one of those iconic characters in Tombstone. That Wyatt Earp, he was the antagonist for that movie, as well as Johnny Ringo.
Yeah.
And of course, they were leaving town at the end towards the end. Is really the beginning of the third act. It kind of sets it up. And Powers Booth character, and I can't remember his name right off the bat, what his character was in the movie. And in real life, of course, the character existed. I'm looking it up as we speak, and I can't find it. It's not jumping out at me. But anyway, so as the Earp brothers was leaving town with the youngest Earp was gunned down, shot in the back, Powers Booth character looked at Wyatt Earp and he said, "Well, bye." That was one of my favorite lines in the movie, And of course, at the just kind of sets up the third act.
Oh, definitely.
Of the film. So I'm kind of a movie buff, especially when it comes to westerns and action movies and stuff.
Well, I'll give you a good factoid. The number of troops the British sent to the states, the colonies, to fight us in the Revolutionary War, if you fast forward that to today, it would be the equivalent of 3 million man army. I mean, and I remember reading accounts of when the ships came over the horizon, it was like a forest. That is just tremendous, and it's really amazing that that was pulled off. Washington, when he pulled out of New York, he wanted to burn New York to the ground. That'd be standard procedures, and Continental Congress said, under no circumstances set fire to New York, because they expected to win. But of course, then Washington was at Valley Forge for the winter, and the British were living it up in New York City. That's the British Army at that point had just finished with Napoleon, so they had a lot of extra troops Napoleon, that was the war right before that. My mind's going blank, but they had a lot of troops to spare then, and of course, all they wanted us to do was to pay for our own defenses, which really amounted to next to nothing. But it was the principle, because we didn't have representatives in Parliament, and we can't be taxed if the people voting to tax us aren't voted in by us, and that's a good principle.
So I just was able to look it up, the character that Powers Booth played in Tombstone, and it was Curly Beale. I couldn't remember his character, but that was a good movie. You got to check it out if you get the opportunity. So we're running out of time for our show, but be sure and check us out. Check out our Facebook page, Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5, and check out our website, armedalabama.com. You can go and listen to all of our previous shows on there, and you can go to our YouTube channel as well. You can watch the video from our Facebook Live broadcast, and that is on our YouTube channel, Armed Alabama. Be sure and check that out. Shoot us an email, adam@armedalabama.com, or the judge at armedalabama.com.
Only if it's complimentary. How about that?
Yeah, if you got an idea for our next show or something you'd like to hear us talk about, just shoot us an email. Until next Tuesday, this is Armed Alabama.